Happy Pride, everybody. Story time. Wanted to share a little bit more stuff and just get some rainbow love out there. Um, so I identify as lesbian, and I have been out forever. When I was younger, I came out as bisexual. I was at the ripe old age of 13, I realized I could put words to the feelings I was having. So I was like, oh, I like girls. At that point, I liked boys too. I think I just, you know, as much as a 13-year-old in the 90s could express themselves. So, identified as bisexual and came out at 13, and I started told my best friend, Sue, and she was really sweet. And I mean, I think I said I'm a lesbian. I think I whispered it. She was like, "Oh, okay, sure, no problem." Like I'm so fortunate to have such a great. Well, my best friend, my sister from another mister. She's always been there for me and still is 30 years later. So I've always had pretty positive experiences with it, and I'm fully aware that that's not the case in many people's lives, and it's hard to come out, and it's nerve-wracking, and it's you know impossible for or it seems impossible for many people, especially youth, queer youth, LGBTQIA youth. It's hard, and I wish there was more outreach when I was younger because I didn't know anybody. Like now, I think there's so much more outlets and so many more organizations and services for LGBTQ youth, and I'm so happy for that. But when I was 13, I didn't really have much. Just I started trying to work with my feelings and stuff, and I was very vocal though. When I realized who I was becoming, I was like, okay, I gotta talk about this. So, um, I did. And a guidance counselor in my junior high that I spoke to, she actually connected me with somebody at this other office in Catholic Charities, of all places. But they actually hooked me up with the LGBTQ center in the city. And then from there, I basically went through quite a bit of things in order to come out to my parents. And like coming out at 13 is back then was just like, okay, you're a kid, you don't really know what you're talking about. Like, that's what kind of the reaction I had at the time. So I had to keep coming out for it to be taken more seriously. That I'm like, no, I'm really feeling this way. This is really who I am. Um, so eventually that was taken more seriously and whatnot. But again, I'm fortunate enough that it wasn't a negative it wasn't like, like many people unfortunately have the reaction of family and friends who are not supportive at all and who are homophobic, um, who are just like no, you can't. If you're gonna be in my house, then you can't act out on these things, these impulses, or whatever people call them. Whatever you other people who aren't in the community call our feelings, our true heart feelings, call them choices, call them impulses, whatever. It's insane. It's like sexual orientation, whatever. I've had many arguments with straight people, especially when I was younger, about that whole the jargon that they use. It's like it's not that complicated. I am attracted to who I am attracted to. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. It's not so much of a like brainwashing or whatever the hell people think. It's crazy. But anyway, um, coming back to me. So I, you know, I think that I evolved over the years, and I didn't start dating anyone or had any kind of um, relationships till I was much older. So I didn't have, I dated a couple of guys in my early 20s, like sort of, but like my first interaction with a woman, I was in college, and it was like kind of, but I was well aware of who I was. I was well aware. I was attracted to women, very definitely. I was attracted to men as well, but it wasn't the same level. I wasn't really butterfly-ish about guys. So, I do believe in the spectrum. I do believe that there is a real, like, scale of sexuality, that everything's not just half and half or one way or the other. Like, there are people that fall somewhere in the middle or somewhere on that scale. But as I evolved and I dated people and I dated men, I dated women, and I realized that I definitely am more connected to women and femininity and just the femaleness of individuals. So I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with the label lesbian. And I wasn't always. As growing up for many years, up until my last relationship with a man, I identified as bisexual, and that was over 13 years ago. So after that, that went south for many reasons. I think I realized, okay, no, I don't ever want to deal with men again. Maybe that experience was a little traumatizing, but it was more so a wake up call also to the fact that I want to be happy. I don't want to settle. I don't want to be with someone because it's easier or like society deems this to be normal or whatever. There's no such thing as normal. Normal's not a thing, It's just, everybody's different, and that's beautiful. Difference is beautiful, and we should all embrace that of each other. Sorry, I know I'm going all over the place with this. I had an idea, and it's kind of going everywhere. But anyway, you're getting to know me, so I'll put up more videos. But just pride and stuff is bringing up a lot of things, and just wanted to share this little tidbit. And my first openly gay person that I had known when I was 13, 14, 15 was my friend, one of my friends that I grew up with. He was gay and open, and he spoke to me, and he was I still, I'm his friend today, and he's, I consider him family as well. He's just an amazing person, and he talked to me, and I asked him strange, questions. Probably didn't, I don't know, about being gay and whatnot, and he was like 7 years older than me, so he was an adult already, and he really was he is an amazing person, and he actually made me feel so comfortable in my skin. It kind of gave me like a okay, I can do this, like I can figure my shit out, and then the ride continued, into adulthood, and now I'm 40, and I'm proud lesbian and queerdo, and I'm comfortable with these labels because forever I didn't want to even label myself, and you shouldn't have to. Nobody has to label themselves, so don't feel that either. You are who you are, whatever that means. You don't have to box yourself in. I consider myself a lesbian because I'm attracted to women, but yeah, like femininity, women. But even like, I realize like the type of women I'm attracted to are vary. It's not clean cut. I'm not like just into one type of woman. I'm definitely very just somebody with a heartbeat. At this point, it's been years, so like anybody with a with a pulse, and as long as you're just kind of nice, a nice person, stable, sober, have a good heart, have your moods in check. Make sure if you have meds, take them. If not, just a nice person. I'm not hard to please. So I think I've realized over the experiences I've had you know, who I am and who I'm still becoming. So, more importantly, also, I've learned and met many transgender people, um, and non-binary people, and it's opened my eyes to this other facet of our community that many people ignore. Many gay people or the LGB part really needs to embrace and stand up for our transgender brothers and sisters. And this is very important to me. Very, very important, because like the struggles that we go through with our sexualities, they've gone through with their gender identities. And it's different, obviously. I'm not, it's different feelings, but it's the same concept of discovering who you are, trying to find words to describe this, and evolving to the person that you're meant to become. This is important for all of us. And, it's important for us to be there for each other. Because it's a struggle. The world throws shit at us every day struggle. On top of our identities, our sexualities, our gender, our just everything. On top of that, there are other things. People of color have to do even more, just to be seen and be accepted. And like, I will not know that experience, but I know people who have gone through this experience who are people of color. Black trans women, Black trans men, Latino trans people, and other cultures, like cultural, I'm Latina myself, and, when you add culture to it, or when you add religion, people who are religious, it's just these other things also come into play. So, and I see you very much. I see all of you. And, struggles are there, but I just want to have this message of like, you can get through the struggle. It is hard, but it is doable. It is not impossible to get through it. No matter how alone you may feel or somebody may feel, it is damn possible to get through it all. All right, so I just want to spread love and light to everybody. Happy Pride.